Isang makakalikasang pagbati sa inyong lahat. Today, I will be discussing to you about the basic concept of ecology and the fundamental principles of nature. Understanding the basic concept of ecology will provide an enhanced knowledge of the interdependence between people and nature that is vital for food production, maintaining clean air and water, and sustaining biodiversity in a changing climate. Before we proceed, this slide will highlight the basic environmental principles. We need to learn about our ecosystem because this is the only way we can protect and take care of our planet and take action to our environmental problems, especially we are facing global climate change. First environmental principle is the nature knows best. This is the most basic principle of all the principles. We humans have to understand nature and follow its rules because if we want to ensure a continuous and steady supply of resources, one must not go against natural processes. Second, all forms of life are important because each organism plays a fundamental role in nature. It is easy to appreciate the beautiful creatures, but when it comes to unlovely and squirmy, this principle is unusually overlooked. Take note, those creatures are served as a food of their predator. Third, everything is connected to everything else. In an ecosystem, all biotic and abiotic components interact with each other to ensure that the system is sustained. Any intrusion from the outside may cause an imbalance and collapsing of the system. Fourth, everything changes. The environment is constantly changing. We all know that, right? The organisms also develop through time. However, with our current technology, we have affected these natural changes that these changes now causes problematic events to us. We, humans, should rethink the relationship with the environment because what we believe that is beneficial to the environment often turn out to be catastrophic. Fifth, everything must go somewhere. Everything ends up elsewhere. It doesn't just disappear. For example, sa mga mahilig mag-candy, if you throw a piece of candy wrapper away, it disappears from sight but not cease to exist. It ends up elsewhere. And take note, any particular type of waste should always be a concern to us. Sixth, ours is a finite Earth. Earth's resources can be classified as either renewable or non-renewable. Renewable resources are those that can be easily replenished by natural cycles, while non-renewable resources are those that cannot be replenished through natural cycles. Although renewable resources can be replenished, it is important to understand that these are renewable only if they are not overused and not destroyed from factors such as pollution. 7. Nature is beautiful and we are the stewards of God's creation. Among all creatures, humans are the only ones made in God's image and have been given the right to have dominion over all His creations. Being the most intelligent and gifted with reason, humans are capable of manipulating creation to their own advantage. The creation exists not to ravage or abuse, but to be taken care of, and the humans cannot exist without nature. They are co-natural with the environment they live in. So what is ecology? What comes to your mind first when you hear the word ecology? Any idea? To define the word ecology, it is the scientific study of the interactions between different organisms and between organisms and their environment. The word ecology is derived from Greek word ohios, meaning household, and logos, meaning study. Thus, the study of the ecology or the environmental houses includes all the organisms in it and all the functional processes that makes the environmental habitable. The term ecology was first used by a German ecologist named Ernst Haeckel in 1869. However, this science has its origin in other sciences such as biology, geology, and the evolution. The term ecology was born in 19th century with the work of Haeckel. The ecology began to flourish until the 20th century. According to the definition of Haeckel, ecology has been subject of interpretations of something different and perhaps more profound in 1900s. In the decades of 40s, Arthur Tansley proposed the concept of ecosystem in the year 1935. And if we say ecosystem, it is a community of living organisms in conjunction with the non-living components of their environment interacting as a system. These living and non-living components are linked together through nutrient cycles and energy flows. And then, this term was later developed by Lindman in 1941, who conceived it from the exchanges of energy in response to the need for the concepts that link the various ecosystems. The levels of the ecology are organisms, population, community, and ecosystem. In ecology, ecosystems are composed of dramatically interacting parts which include the organisms, the communities they comprise, and the abiotic or non-living components of the environment. These levels of ecology will explain the life processes, the interactions, interrelationships, behaviors, and adaptations of organisms, the movement of material and energy through biotic or living communities, the successional development of an ecosystem, and the abundance and distribution of organisms and biodiversity in the context of the environment. The first level of ecology was the organisms. Organisms makes the basic unit of the study in ecology, and the biological unit has a specific structure and function. The organisms of the similar type have the potential for interbreeding and produce fertile offspring which are called species. The organisms perform all the life processes independently. However, parts of the organism cannot exist independently of one another. An organism is fully adapted to its environment. It has a definite lifespan including definite series of stages like birth, growth, maturity, aging, and death. The competition, mutualism, and predation are the various types of interaction between organisms. Ecological competition is a struggle between two organisms for the same resources within an environment. Resources are components of the environment that are required for survival and reproduction, such as food, water, shelter, and territory. There are two types of competition. The competition among members of different species is referred to as interspecific competition, while competition among members of the same species is called intraspecific competition. The intraspecific competition are more intense than interspecific competition because members of the same species occupy the same ecological needs and their needs are identical. Second interaction is mutualism. It is defined as interactions between organisms of two different species, in which each organism benefits from the interaction in some way. For example, as shown in the presentation, the bee and the flower. Bee fly from flower to flower gathering nectar, which they make into food, benefiting the bee. When they land in a flower, the bee gets some pollen on their hairy bodies, and when they land in the next flower, some of the pollen from the first one rubs off the plant. This benefits the plants. In this mutualistic relationship, the bee gets to eat, and the flowering plants get to reproduce. The third interaction is the predator and prey. A predator is an organism that eats another organism. The prey is the organism which the predator eats. Example of the predator and prey are lion and zebra, as shown in the slide. The word predator and prey are almost always used to mean only animals that eat animals. But the same concept also applies to plants like the rabbit and lettuce. Predator and prey evolve together. The prey is a part of predator's environment, and the predator dies if it does not get food. So it evolves whatever is necessary in order to eat the prey. Likewise, the predator is part of the prey's environment, and the prey dies if it is eaten by predator. So it evolves whatever is necessary to avoid being eaten. Another interaction is parasitism. It is a type of symbiotic relationship or long-term relationship between two species, where one member, the parasite, gain benefits that come at the expense of the host member, and most parasites are smaller than the host organism. The two fundamental types of parasitism are endoparasite and ectoparasite, where endoparasite exists inside a host body and ectoparasites which exist outside a host body. Example for endoparasites are the mosquitoes, and example for ectoparasites are the tapeworms. Take note, the parasites cannot live without a host. The second level of ecology is the population. A population is a group of individuals of the same species inhabiting the same area and functioning as a unit of biotic community. The interactions may be predator and its prey or a parasite with its host. Thus, population ecology is the study of the individual populations of organisms. Another is community. Biotic community organization results from interdependence and interactions among populations of different species in a habitat. This is an assemblage of populations of plants, animals, bacteria, and fungi that live in an area and interact with each other. A biotic community is a higher ecological category next to population, and they have a distinct species composition. There are three types of biotic community: the animals, plants, and the composers, which include the bacteria and the fungi.